All right, in this video, I'm going to go over the product rule with you. And the first part of this, we're going to look at why do we need the product rule? Well, if we look at the function f of x is equal to x to the 18th power, if we use the power rule on this, we would get 18x to the 17th power, and we know that's right from the power rule. Well, if you look at here, I took x to the 18th and I broke it up into x to the 11th times x to the 7th. We know that equals x to the 18th by the law of exponents. Well, what happens if we try to take the derivative here and we try to take the derivative of each of the parts of this product? So the derivative of x to the 11th with the power rule would be 11x to the 10th. And the derivative of x to the 7th would be 7x to the 6th, which equals 77x to the 16th power, which is not the same answer as 18x to the 17th. And the reason being is we have to use something called the product rule. And in this video, we will go over different examples with the product rule. All right, let's go over the formula for the product rule. So if you had a product of two functions, so in this case here, f of x times g of x, and you want the derivative, that's going to equal f of x prime times g of x plus g of x prime times f of x. And one corny way that I would teach my students how to remember the formula would be if you have a friend that's a girl, she is your girlfriend. So fg plus gf, and then put a prime mark after the first part of each one. So friend, girl, so prime mark after the f, plus girlfriend, prime mark after the g. That was just a way that I would give them to try to remember it. There's plenty of different ways to write this in different calculus books. So I've seen it written in many different ways. All right, so let's look at that first example. Let's do it with the product rule and see if we get the correct answer. All right, so one thing to remember is that this f of x is not the f you're using within the formula. Okay, that's just a labeling on the outside. We're going to assign parts equal to f of x. So we would have f of x is x to the 11th, and g of x is x to the 7th. So f prime x would be 11x to the 10th times g of x, so times x to the 7th, plus g prime of x, which is 7x to the 6th times x to the 11th. And if we simplify this, we would get 11x to the 17th plus 7x to the 17th, which equals the correct answer, 18x to the 17th. Okay? Okay, in our next example, we have h of x is equal to 2x times sine x. So I'm going to assign the first part of the product as f of x, and I'm going to assign the sine of x as g of x. All right, so h prime of x, so the derivative would equal f prime, so the derivative of 2x is 2, times g of x, which is sine x, plus g prime of x, so the derivative of sine x is cosine x, times f of x times 2x, and we would have our answer. All right, so one thing you should always check is, do I really need to use the product rule? So in this example here, we're going to find y prime. Well, if you look at this, we can use the product of this just fine and get the answer, but sometimes it's easier just to distribute. So we would get root x times 1, which is x to the half, plus x to the half times x, which is x to the 3 halves, by law of exponents. And then y prime would be 1/2 x to the negative a half plus 3/2 x to the 1/2. So sometimes it's easier just to bypass the product rule if it's easy enough to multiply out. Okay, now if it was something that wasn't easy enough to, then obviously you need to go to the product rule. All right, so in this next example, would it be more beneficial to use the product rule instead of multiplying it out? And I think in this case here, yes, it would be more beneficial using the product rule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this part f of x. I'm going to assign this part g of x. So we have f prime. So we would get 3x squared plus 6x plus 2 times g, which is x squared plus 4, plus g prime, and the derivative of g would be 2x, times f, which would be x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. And this would be h prime. All right, in our last example, we have y equals x cubed cosine x, and we want to find y prime using the product rule. So I'm going to assign the x cubed as my f of x, and I'm going to assign the cosine as my g of x. So f prime would be 3x squared times g of x, which would be cosine x, plus g prime, which the derivative of cosine is negative sine x, times f, which is x cubed. So I would write my final answer as y prime is equal to 3x squared cosine x minus x cubed times sine x. I'm going to put that x cubed out front. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope that helped get you started on the product rule. And the key is to just practice this. So you have to practice it, get good at it, recognize when you don't want to use the product rule and you can just multiply it out and it's easier that way to use the power rule, and when you do need the product rule. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.